Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is September 10th, 2024, and today we're going to talk about the 7 Barcelona gems that have caught the eye of Hansi Flick. Also, we're going to discuss the contract renewals of both Marc Bernal and Fermin Lopez. And finally, Barcelona have some hefty competition in the Premier League for Jonathan Tah. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All of this helps this channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the Goal Kits, Kit Bag, or Fanatics. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you hit the Bet Us. All links are down below in the description. Now, I'll begin this video with the news that 7 players from the Juvenil A or the Under-19 youth team have caught the eye of Hansi Flick in the most recent fixture that they had against Barcelona. Now, as you know, Hansi Flick has made it a mission not only to incorporate youngsters in the first team, but also to keep his eye on the academy for any potential and new emerging talent. And as such, Flick watched the match between the Juvenil A and Barcelona. And during this match, it's reported that 7 players caught the eye of the German coach. Now, the first player to catch the eye of Hansi Flick was Xavi Espart, who's a 17-year-old pivot. Even though he did play as a right back with the Juvenil A against Barcelona, he also played with Barca Athletic last week against Andorra, and he's a player that's described to have a similar profile to Marc Bernal, and as such, he has earned the trust of Hansi Flick. Now, the second player that caught the attention of Flick is Nico Marcipar. He's a 16-year-old defender. He is considered one of the most talented center backs in the entire La Masia, and he is described as a left-footed center back who has very good ability on the ball. Now, the third player that caught Hansi Flick's attention was Alex Walton, the 18-year-old left back that Barcelona has just signed this past winter from EF Gava, and who actually ended up scoring the winning goal against Barcelona with his Juvenil A team. And the fourth player to catch the attention of Hansi Flick was Brian Farinas. He's an 18-year-old midfielder who set the pace during that match against Barcelona and actually ended up scoring the first goal against Barcelona. He is one of the hottest prospects in all of La Masia, and in fact, last season, he did train with the first team under Xavi Hernandez, and he also ended up playing a few matches with Barca Athletic, and who has now caught the attention of the German coach, alongside the next player, which is Kim Junien, which you've already heard of him. He's a 17-year-old center midfielder who has a great knack for linking up with his teammates. And in fact, we saw that during the preseason because Hansi Flick did take Kim Junien to the US during the preseason tour. And even though he was played out of position on the flanks, we still saw his great linkage with his teammates. And while it's reported that Flick is keeping a close eye on Kim Junien. Now, the sixth player that caught Hansi Flick's attention during this match against Barcelona was Hugo Alba, the 18-year-old striker who has been in the academy since 2019 and who was also called up last year under Xavi Hernandez to train with the first team. And finally, the last player to catch Flick's attention was Jan Virgili, who's an 18-year-old that was just signed from Nastic this past summer. He's someone who scored 18 goals in 28 matches last season with Nastic. And during his debut with Juvenil A this season, he scored a brace. So he's someone that Barcelona definitely expect lots of goals from, and who Hansi Flick has been keeping a close eye. Now, speaking of youngsters from the academy, talented youngsters of the academy, let's talk about Marc Bernal, because his contract renewal is imminent. Now, Marc Bernal, who just recently underwent a successful surgery in order to repair that torn ACL and damaged meniscus in his knee, is reportedly has felt him and his family have felt very much supported by the club. where Jean Laporta, members of the board of director, Flick, his staff and players have been calling the family, calling the player, going to his house, showing him lots of love, lots of support, and as such, the player and his family have felt very much supported by the club, and they're very happy with the support. And on top of that, Barcelona have communicated to Marc Bernal and his family that they're still pushing through with the renewal because they still bet on him as the future pivot of the club despite this injury. And of course, I think this was a great gesture by the club because you can only imagine all the worry that the player and his family were going through. First of all, worried about the health of Marc Bernal. He just had a big injury, and probably they started, worrying about his future, what's going to happen. He had a renewal pending. Now he goes, tears his ACL, and the club says, look, don't worry. I know it's a serious injury. Focus on healing. We still want you. We still bet on you. And in fact, we're going to renew you as soon as possible because that's how much we bet on you. And that, of course, I think it's a great gesture, and it's a great boost for him because mentally now he's going to be more relaxed and he's not going to be worried. He's not going to be stressed. And of course, we know the enemy of healing is stress and worry. So great gesture by the club who continue to trust and who they think is the future pivot of Barcelona. Now, speaking of contract renewals, Barcelona are still pushing through with the contract renewal of Fermin Lopez. Now, Fermin Lopez recently renewed with the club. I think it was almost a year ago or less than a year ago. He renewed with the club until 2027, where Barcelona gave him a first-team contract, first-team salary, and of course a 400 million euro release clause. And while given the rise in stature of Fermin Lopez, where he absolutely killed it last season under Xavi, and then he went on to win the Euros with Spain, then win Olympic gold with Spain as well. Barcelona now want to recognize the big breakthrough that Fermin Lopez has had and the big rise that he has had, and as such they want to renew his contract, which is something I told you about in the past. But as you know, Fermin Lopez just got injured during the international break, and despite this injury, Barcelona have decided to push through with the renewal because just like Marc Bernal, Barcelona trusts in our young warrior. Now, the last bit of news is that Barcelona will have lots of competition from the Premier League for the defender Jonathan Tah. Now, we've talked about Tah several times these past few days. His contract expires with Bayer Leverkusen next summer, and he has no intention to renew his contract with the Bundesliga club. As such, Deco is currently working with Jonathan Tah's agent Pini Zahabi to bring the player next summer to Barcelona on a free basis. We know that Jonathan Tah is in favor of playing Barcelona. We know his agent has already offered him to Barcelona, and we know that Flick thinks that this would be a good addition to the team. And while it's been revealed that Barcelona will have some hefty competition in the Premier League because Liverpool, Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur, and Chelsea are all interested in the German defender as well. Now, this, of course, does pose a little bit of problem for Barcelona because we know many of these Premier League clubs have a lot more money, and Barcelona can offer much higher salaries. We'll see whether Tah will insist on coming to Barcelona or whether he will be tempted by the much higher contracts that these Premier League clubs can offer him. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. This was the third video of the day. Make sure to check out the other two that I posted. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.